No comment. Okay, the time is 9:30. We will call our county council meeting to order for Tuesday, February 17th. I guess we have an agenda in front of us if someone wants to move that. Councilor Ritz.
I move to approve the agenda.
Any questions on the agenda? All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Takes us to our minutes from our February 3rd council meeting. If someone would like to move those. Councilor Harley Hansen.
I move to approve the minutes from January 13th.
Did anyone note any errors or omissions? Councilor Rihanna?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Just have to get you to use your mic. So.
Sorry.
February 3rd, 3.1, I believe it should be Rihanna Hansen, and the date should be February 3rd.
So that motion was moved by yourself, is what you're saying? Yeah. Okay. So, any other errors or omissions noted in those minutes? Seeing none, I would, Miss Rodwell.
Sorry, Mayor Ramsey, just to clarify, you said 3.1, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the motion for the approval of the minutes.
So we believe that the date on the minutes should have been February 3rd, on February 3rd?
No, I think it's just the mover.
Just the mover? Okay.
Yeah.
If you would be okay, we would prefer to go back and watch the video to confirm that.
I do, and that's fine. I do have it noted in my notes that it was Councilor Rihanna, but so can we move those or
we would just table them?
Just table them? Okay. Okay. That's all good. We can do that for clarity and then get back to those later. Did anyone notice any other errors or omissions while we're kind of at it? Seeing none, okay. We will just leave that till we get confirmation from staff. And that moves us on to item 5.1. Miss Miller, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. So this is to consider granting second and third reading to bylaw 1011/2025-A as amended. I'm just going to elaborate there. As amended is due to the map amendment, and you can see the map here. It's identified in Schedule C of the report, and it's just showing the shaded areas for the franchise area. And so this is to amend a bylaw 2018/35 to increase the franchise agreement municipal service area as per the attachment within the report. Section 59 of the Municipal Government Act allows the council of a municipal district to designate an unincorporated community located within its boundaries to be a hamlet subject to conditions or criteria, which Gasoline Alley West currently meets. It's actually the Hamlet of Gasoline Alley, and this section also allows for council of a municipal district to amend the boundaries of a hamlet. This hamlet boundary was completed June 3rd, 2025. Sorry, I'm not sure why it says 26. The original section of Gasoline Alley West was designated as a hamlet in 2018. In 2020, council authorized the mayor and CAO to grant a franchise agreement with ATCO Gas to deliver natural gas to customers within the Hamlet of Gasoline Alley. Council authorization was done by bylaw, and that was the 2018/35 bylaw. In 2024, administration received a request from a developer to incorporate the lands within the Hamlet of Gasoline Alley. The purpose of this request is expand the ATCO franchise agreement boundary. So developers for lands outside of the franchise agreement are required to pay rural infrastructure costs as opposed to an urban infrastructure cost when extending the gas infrastructure for new developments. Urban and rural infrastructure costs are vastly different from each other. So just an example, if you were outside of the agreement area, you would have to pay an additional $7,900 if my math is right, $7,900 per connection. So we do have a developer that's looking to develop in this area, and the savings are quite substantial at full build out, over $2 million. The amended franchise agreement boundary area would reduce infrastructure costs to developers, and a franchise fee would be applied to the natural gas customer's monthly bill. An amendment to Bylaw 2018-35 is required to change the municipal service area map to reflect the current boundary. So on June 3rd, Council approved a boundary amendment to the Hamlet of Gasoline Alley. And the area, you can see the two different areas here. The shaded one in green was the one that was completed in 2018, and then the map was amended in 2025, June. Also on June 3rd, Council granted first reading to amend the area for the franchise agreement. On November 17, 2025, ATCO provided the county with an updated map, so you can see the map there, and asked that we utilize this map to be adopted and revised and put into that franchise agreement. On December 15, 2025, Red Deer County received the letter from ATCO verifying council can proceed with second and third reading. The letter is included within the report. So just some background, the average monthly franchise fee for a residential customer is approximately $9.39, including linear taxes. The franchise fee is calculated based on distribution charges. And so at this time, we're not looking at any changes to the franchise rate rider percentage as part of this boundary amendment. The proposed amendment to the Hamlet and the franchise agreement area, it was within a referral letter that identified both information, and that was sent out April 17, 2025. The referral letter is included within the report, and to date, no concerns have been received. Council had indicated at the June 3rd, 2025 meeting that they had received feedback. However, this was not provided to administration. Administration received a phone call from Home Church asking for clarification on the Hamlet boundary amendment and franchise fee, but had no concerns. We did not receive any concern otherwise. So the recommendation is to grant second and third reading to Bylaw 1011/2025A as amended, a bylaw to amend 2018/35 to increase the franchise agreement municipal service area of this report.
Okay, thank you for the report. I'm guessing there's going to be some questions on this one. Does anyone want to start? Councillor DePong.
Thanks for the report. So I do have one question, and maybe I don't remember is kind of what the problem is. The little jog at the bottom there, I don't remember, why is that subdivision not included in the new boundary? I think I have an idea, but I just...
So through the CAO to members of council, back when we were looking at it, there was lots of discussion whether or not to include it or not. It is not within the area structure plan for the Waskesiu. So the, I don't know what shape that would be, but it basically follows the alignment of the Waskesiu area structure plan and then the existing Hamlet of Gasoline Alley. It's all acreages that are currently developed. It doesn't have water sewer infrastructure, and part of the Hamlet requirements are the extension of water and sewer. Where water and sewer can be extended, gas can be extended. That's kind of the method to it. The likelihood of that having any water and sewer extended in the near future is probably pretty slim due to the costs. Not saying it can't happen though.
Okay, I have one more.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. And then my other question would, and like I said, it's just refreshing my memory. So the I guess to the right of that, that's the mobile home park, right? All the little tiny, like to the,
So it's Liberty Landing, yeah.
oh, that's to the right?
Yeah.
That little area in there?
Waskasiu is up kind of more to the northeast part.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm just getting confused. Okay, I think I'm good then. Thanks.
Councillor Rihanna Hansen, questions?
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, if this goes through, and there's a franchise in the area, I'm assuming that means that all the existing, that newer green area will all be required to join ATCO or sign up with ATCO, or the developer would.
So through the CAO to council, with respect to gas, they're actually territories, gas territories. So this territory is already ATCO territory. It's very specific through the AUC where they can service. So there is no conflict with any other provider.
Okay, perfect. That answers my question. Thank you.
Councillor Gerard. Councillor Brewster.
Thank you for that. Was very helpful because I tried to read this on my own and got a little confused. So thank you for step by step. Is the entire Hamlet of Gasoline Alley West now part of the ATCO area?
So through the CAO to council, at this time, the yellow boundary is the current Hamlet of Gasoline Alley. As part of this report to council, it's to grant second and third reading to the franchise area to incorporate those lands that were put into the hamlets into the franchise agreement area. We just had several steps between that we needed to do.
Okay. And do we know, so the monthly fee would be $9.39 based on the distribution charges. Do we know how many people extra we expect for this to go towards, or is there anything we need to be cognizant of?
So with respect to the extra charges, those are based on averages, and those averages are provided to me from ATCO to give a bit of an idea, and then we advertise it so that they have opportunity to provide their concerns. So that's the average. But I do have, franchise fees collected. So if you think about the entire area, we projected $75,000 a year to collect in franchise fees. It's not a lot of money, but the reason the developers push so hard is just phase one will be over $600,000 in savings for the developers. So the developers do substantially benefit from that. And then it is an opportunity to do the user fee method to collect a little bit of money. A lot of other municipalities do this. We started looking at it because we couldn't compete with that gas infrastructure back when the city of Red Deer, all of our urbans, even Bowden, Delburn, they all are within one.
Councillor Hansen.
Thank you for that report. Similar question to what Julie had. Is there a disadvantage to the few homes that are in that area already for this to, I guess it would be the extra $10 a month. Is that the only? Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. So is there a benefit to them with this coming in?
Specifically to them, I guess if there was any, if they had to do any work, there might be benefit where they could utilize right-of-ways, things like that. But the benefit is more to the developers and to the county and just the safety of the area as a whole.
Okay, sounds good. And there has been, oh,
You want to follow up on
Yeah,
that? Mr.
further to what Director Miller's, the other benefit is the monies are held in reserves for future projects that'll benefit Gasoline Alley Hamlet. So let's say there's community services needs that there's a specific fund. So ever since the beginning, we've been holding the monies in a reserve, have not spent it. It'll be used in Gasoline Alley. So we know at some point there will be a school, there will be a need for a library, a joint use facility. This is going to start to collect monies to be able to help fund those things. So that's the ultimate benefit, is for future costs and future expenses.
Thank you for that.
thank you.
Good. I'll maybe just jump in before we get to Council Ritz. Clarity on the amended map. I didn't see any difference between like the Hamlet boundary map that's on the screen versus that map that we're calling the amended map. So I'm just curious why we need to amend the map.
So this is the map that was provided, and with the yellow, if you could go back to that ACO one. And this is the map that ACO wanted us to use. The boundary has not changed. It's just they wanted, this is the map they wanted.
Okay.
And it does show the shaded areas. And coincidentally, we did the original boundary along the ACO South infrastructure, and the yellow shaded area is ACO North infrastructure.
Okay. No, just kind of trying to understand what the purpose was. And just for clarity, and I think this come up when we did first reading, but the residents of Waskesiu Estates, those were included on that original referral that went out, correct?
That is correct. Each one of them received one back in April of 2025. So if anyone changed ownership.
Yeah,
That's
no,
correct.
understand that. And then I know there were a few questions around that, average 939 increase. Is that average based on all the properties in Gasoline Alley? Like, I'm guessing the impact to some of the smaller residential users would be smaller than that.
Yeah, it's my understanding that ATCO provided me numbers based on the average. So I would assume that it would be the average of residential properties. I don't believe that they would have incorporated the commercial users to give that idea. So a smaller mobile home park owner, they may have substantial changes to that amount.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ritz, any questions? This is in your area. Do you want to make a motion for second reading?
So I would move to approve bylaw 1011-2025-A as amended for second.
Okay. Second reading of the amended bylaw has been moved. I would open it up to comments or debate at this time. Councillor DePalm. Councillor Ryan Hansen. Councillor Brewster. Councillor Cook. I'll make one. My opinion on this has changed from first reading, obviously with the amended boundaries, or the boundaries being amended, and the new mobile home development being approved. We don't want to create an inequity across residents there. So, expanding this franchise agreement to match the boundaries only makes sense at this time. And I do certainly understand the benefits to our developers, and we want to encourage that development and see the growth in this area. But I do want to be a little bit cautious when we do stuff like this, that we don't start to make our affordable housing options unaffordable. So something to keep in mind as we annually kind of look at these rates and everything as well. So Councillor Ritz, I don't know if you have any further comments.
I agree with what Mayor Ramsey has said. I think it is important to ensure that there's no large surprises, but I do also very much agree and appreciate that there's savings being put away ahead of time so that because as it grows, that's more people and that's more services that are going to be required. So I think that's really fantastic. So yeah, that's my only comment.
All in favor of second reading? Carried unanimously. I'd be looking for a motion for third reading as well, if someone wants to do that. Councillor Gerard?
I motion for third reading.
Thank you. Third reading has been moved. Any other comments, additional comments? Looking around the room, seeing no hands. All those in favor of third reading? Carried unanimously. Okay. That moves us right along to item 5.2.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Morning.
I am here to look at considering the first reading of Bylaw 1020-2025-A regarding a speed limit increase on Range Road 270 north of Highway 11 from 60 kilometers an hour to 70 kilometers an hour. So back in the day, operations did completed a speed limit evaluation on this project. Noted the section of the road which is considered to follow Transportation Association of Canada criteria, and it looked at the road cross-section, intersection site distances, the road profile, passing opportunities, entrances, design speeds, clear zones, and length of road. The evaluation determined that the recommended speed limit for this stretch of road was 70 kilometers an hour. On August 15th, 2024, Council directed administration to decrease the speed limit on Range Road 270 north of Highway 11 to 60 kilometers an hour, which did not align with the recommendations from our engineers. Pursuant to Section 6.1, the Road Protection and Traffic Control Bylaw number 2011-38, the speed limit on this road is currently 60. And as the speed zones are set by bylaw, a revision to the speed zone is adopted by an amendment to that bylaw. This section of road is between 7 and 8 meters wide with undulating grade, but generally falls towards Highway 11. Stretch of road is 1.6 kilometers long, has 2 subdivision road accesses, and both are stop controlled entering Range Road 270. There are approximately 12 alternate private access points and 4 of those which are farm accesses. And the road has recently seen significant increases in traffic since the construction of the 30th Ave 67th Street roundabout in 2016. So the road is mainly used as a bypass route to avoid some signalized intersections within Red Deer. And additionally, there's been reported use of this road surface for both cyclists and pedestrians, which is a narrow road with no provision for separate sidewalk or pathway. And often these users are very vulnerable to the vehicles. So should the speed limit increase be put in place, the cost to install 70-kilometer regulatory signs would be incurred. As part of the agenda, this report has been shared online. Public can watch it, video live stream it, and the information will also be published in the county news. So our alternatives are refer the bylaw and request further information, such as a completion of public consultation, not adopt the bylaw, which will result in the speed limit on this portion of Range Road 270 remaining at 60 kilometers an hour, or thirdly, give first read-in to bylaw 1020/2025-A, bylaw to repeal bylaw number 2024/19, establishing a 60-kilometer speed limit on Range Road 270 between Highway 11 and Township Road 384, and amend bylaw number 2011/38 Schedule B to set up the speed limit on Range Road 270 between Highway 11 and Township Road 384 to the recommended speed of 70 kilometers an hour. And our recommendation is to do the last alternative there. It's a lot to read. And that's all I've got.
Perfect. Thank you for the report. Questions for administration? Councillor Gerard.
Yeah, my only question is, what's the motive of increasing it to 70 kilometers an hour?
Through through CAO to mayor and council. I know we've received several complaints about this, about the speed going down to 60. The 70 would be the recommended speed based on what we received from our engineers.
Councillor Brewster.
Thank you. You included in your report that a number of pedestrians and cyclists maybe use the road. Is there going to be a safety factor for them if we increase the speed limit to 70? Or if we increase the speed limit to 70, maybe they won't use that road? Like, what's the safety implications for pedestrians?
Through the CAO to mayor and council, again, through the information that we've received from our engineers, the recommended speed is the 70, and that accounts for the pedestrians and the cyclists using the road.
Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you. Thank you for that report. I have a couple or a question here for sure. When you say that the traffic on that road has increased since the roundabout has been put in, are they avoiding the roundabout, or are they going 11A, or are they like, yeah, let's go down this way and hit the roundabout?
Through the CAO to mayor and council. So from what we've seen is people are using the roundabout, but avoiding the lights within in the city of Red Deer. So instead of going down 32nd and cutting over to Highway 11, it's just a lot easier to go straight through the roundabout and use Township Road 384.
Okay.
And then come down.
Okay, sounds good. And yeah, I had the same question about why was it decreased to 60 kilometers in the first place, if there was maybe a public consultation on that. And there has been no public consultation on this change again. Just a few people have called in to complain about the drastic drop.
That is correct. It's through the CAO to mayor and council. So that is correct. Previous to us decreasing it, we were approached about the speed on the road, and so we went to our engineers, and they've done the study to look at what the recommended speed is. So, and then when it came back to council, it was decided that they wanted it down to 60.
Okay. All right. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, Councillor Ritz, any questions?
No questions, just, yeah, I'll just move forward. I'm good, just, yeah. And there was no public consultation, just to clarify, from the 80 to 60, there was no consultation with the public.
That is correct. No problem.
Thank you.
Councillor DePalm, questions?
So, I do vaguely, I remember this. So I guess my question would be, because there was complaints that it was at 80 and people wanted it at 60. That was my understanding from the discussion that was going on, and the complaints that were sent in, because this was brought forward with a notice of motion first. So I guess my question would be, how many, I don't know if you can tell me, the number of complaints we got that it's at 60, does that equate to the same amount we got when it was at 80? Because my understanding at the time was that there was massive concern about the speed on that road, and there was, I guess, residential support for going down to 60. So I'm just a little confused, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's a question or what.
Go ahead, Director Campbell, or we're fighting for light.
Through CAO, the mayor
Sorry.
and council. I'll add a couple pieces of information, and then Director Brand will weigh in on the enforcement part. So what I recall on this, we'll back up to the traffic piece. So as Mr. Kellum has mentioned, this is becoming an official ring road, another one on the northeast part of the city. So the counts on 384 that intersects with 270, they're pushing 2,000 vehicles per day. When you go east of 270 on 384 to Canyon Ski Hill, they drop to 350 per day. You go south on 270, the piece of road we're talking about now, and you hit Highway 11, that's over 2,000 as well. Highway 11 itself, that intersection is just over 3,000, so it tells a pretty good picture. That's become a ring road. When the request came in 2024, the request was drop 80 to 60. Our consultants came back and said it met a 70-kilometer standard. South of our piece of 270, the city has a piece they just lowered to 60. Our piece south of that on 270 down to Mackenzie Road is 80. East and west of 270 on 384 is also 80K. So just some background on that. And then now I'll allow Mr. Brand to talk about enforcement.
Go ahead.
Yeah, through the CEO to Mayor and Council, just there were some questions about safety and also I think the history. I believe like this was a council request initially, and it's a council request again this time. So when we say we received complaints, it's not administration. It was what does it look like? It came through council, and then administration's process is operations talks to their engineers with respect to the standard. They consult patrol with respect to enforcement and safety, and all that comes back, and then we give a report to council. So the challenge with 60 kilometers an hour when this road is recommended to be signed at 70 is naturally people then expect traffic to go 60, and traffic doesn't, because it can actually drive a little faster than that, because that's what the road bears. So from an enforcement perspective, as you can imagine, we're not out there ticketing people going 70 and a 60, but if somebody's walking on the road expecting vehicles to go 60 and they're going 70, it feels a lot faster and less safe. So there's that piece. Whether it's 60, 70, or 80, you're always going to have what we call some high flyers, which are people that are significantly exceeding the speed limit, 110, 130, which is unsafe at any speed. Those are who we target from an enforcement perspective, obviously. But that's just a little bit of the rationale. When the engineers say that it should be a recommended speed of 70 kilometers an hour and you sign it less than that, you will naturally find traffic driving the higher speed anyway, because that's what it feels like. Anybody who's ever been on a road or even a residential street where you find yourself going faster than the speed limit just naturally, that's the psychology of driving that comes with it. So from an when we do go out there and do strategic enforcement on this road because of the volumes that exist, as Director Campbell has alluded to. And generally speaking, we're finding a lot of people are in that there's some engineering terminology behind it in terms of percentiles and things like that, but they're generally in that 70 to 80 range, which typically isn't something we generally enforce on. And it's you hit those high flyers, you hit the people that are going 90 or 100 along there. So that's fewer and far between. Hopefully that just gives some context on the whole thing overall.
Okay, can I ask another question?
Go ahead.
Okay, I guess my next question would be, it's more about, I guess, process. I'm a little confused. So because seeing it here, so I assumed that you guys had been bombarded with complaints, I guess. So if this was brought forward as a notice of motion the first time, we can just bring it forward again later with no, I guess I'm just, I don't I'm a little,
Yep.
not understanding
Rodwell,
process.
clarity on the.
Through the mayor, through the CEO to mayor and council, it indicates in the report that the procedure bylaw states that following a general election, a matter can be readdressed by council without a notice of motion or a motion to reconsider. So that's how this item is here before you today.
Okay. Okay, I just need clarification on that. Okay, thanks.
Councillor Ryan Hansen.
Yeah, I think I'm really sitting really closely with some of Dana's comments. So we don't know how many complaints there were received initially when it was dropped to 60, and we don't know how many complaints were received now to request the change again. Is that correct? So potentially it could be a small number of people.
Through the CEO to Mayor and Council, it could be we don't have exact numbers. And when it was brought forward in 2024, it was, what I recall, it was more ratepayers complaining to the local councillor of Division 2 at that time. We don't have exact numbers from that.
Another question. So this area, are most of these roads that kind of join and link up to it, they're all 80-ish? Like I know 384 is, I believe that's 80, and Highway 11's 80, and
That's correct. 384 east and west of 270. They're currently posted at 80 until you go west into the city near the roundabout. Then it drops to 60 there, but that's in city corporate limits.
yeah.
And then 11, as you mentioned, is 80. South of 11, the piece that belongs to the city, they just lowered theirs to 60K very recently. And then further south on R270 again, from Highway 595 to Mackenzie Road, is at 80K again.
Okay. I guess I'm a little confused why we're just doing this little section. And when I look at the map, it seems to me there's more population kind of on Highway 11 than there would be on 270 as far as pedestrian traffic goes. Would that be fair to say? Yeah, I guess I'm just a little... It just doesn't seem like the highest use area. I'm struggling with the drop, the 60.
I'm not sure if there was a question in
I don't
there.
know if there was either. Okay, one other question, and this is not as important as safety for sure, but as far as the financial commitment to changing signs, do we know what that looks like?
Through the CAO to Mayor and Council, like I said, there'd just be one or two most likely 2 to 3 signs changed at a couple $100 a pop. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it for me.
I see Councillor Gerard has an additional question, so go ahead.
Yeah, super quick. What's the speed limit on Range Road 265?
Through the CAO to Mayor and Council, 265 is 80 kilometers.
Okay.
But there is a 50 kilometer zone at the top of the hill.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else with additional questions? Looking around. I have one. Was there? And I'm trying to recall. Was there an engineering report submitted when we looked at this the first time? Did we get a copy of that engineering report in the package? I'm just wondering if that would be beneficial moving forward.
Through CAO and Mayor and Council, I don't know if the report was submitted to you guys, but I do have a copy of it.
Seeing no other questions, Councillor Ritz, this is your area. If you would like to make a motion.
I would like to make a motion to grant first reading, to amend, help me with this one, Mayor Ramsey, Bylaw 201138, Schedule B, to set the speed limit on Range Road 270 between Highway 11 and Township Road 384 to the recommended speed of 70 kilometers an hour. Is that right?
Yeah, I think we're okay there. First reading as recommended. Any comment or debate on this matter? Yeah, going around the room, Councillor DePalm.
So I guess my comments would be is I'm struggling with this because my understanding when we dropped it to 60 and I realized that it was recommended for 70 is that there was quite a few people that were wanting the speed limit lowered, and so I guess I don't know how many number of people it takes to change a bylaw. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if I can support it just for the simple fact. Like I said, my first understanding was there was lots of people out there that were wanting it lowered, and then, you know, to change it when we don't actually know how many people have called about this is, I'm struggling with that part because I guess just kind of with process in that. So I don't know if I can support second reading.
We're just on first reading. Oh, yeah, yeah. And I think the plan, Ms. Rodwell, would be that if first reading passed today, that would be where we stop, and then second and third would come to a future council agenda.
That is correct.
Okay. Councillor Rihanna Hansen.
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit too with knowing how many residents are sitting one way and the other. It makes it really hard to know where the real concern is, how much concern. And I guess listening to the engineer and their expertise, yeah, I'd be a little inclined to kind of follow the direction that they're giving, given that this is their expertise. And all of the roads in the area are higher than 60, so I'll just leave it there.
Councillor Gerard.
Yeah, my comment would be the residential area and how many entrances are off that road. Speeding up the flow of traffic makes sense, except for if I think you said there was 12 approaches. So that's my only concern, and having a 50-kilometer-an-hour zone on 265 with, it looks like quite a bit more residential area, but it's still, there is quite a bit on 270. So I'm a little bit torn too about supporting the motion of first reading on this one.
Councillor Brewster.
My biggest concern is kind of flip-flopping on the speed limit without knowing more what the residents' concerns are. You know, it's at 60 now. If there is agricultural traffic on there, which the report indicated, people are going to have to slow down spring and fall. And if we're letting them go faster and they have to slow down more, that would be a concern for me. But the biggest concern is just we need to make up our minds what the speed limit's going to be and leave it for a while, right? So I do worry that we don't know how many people would like it to be changed. So that's just a concern for me.
Councillor Hansen.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. I think that we need a consultation with the public to see what the folks in that area think, you know, and I don't know if that's what we should do in this round or second and third or.
Well, I get to try and help some of the concern I'm hearing. I guess that's kind of part of the reasoning for just looking at first reading today and then waiting a couple weeks to bring it back for second and third. That would give residents a chance to comment and weigh in, and we could potentially receive some feedback over that time. I think if council wanted to go any further with public engagement, we would need to decide that and potentially make an amendment.
I guess just as another comment, this was visited back in 2024. It is a 10-kilometer difference. At this point, as Director Brand said, it's 60 kilometers. Everyone's driving that 70 to 80. And just in the history of my driving, when there's a 70 sign, a lot of people go 80 to 90. So I guess that's just a little bit of my concern. I think if maybe help me out here, but I would like to see some public consultation to make sure that this is the right move again, or if it should just stay at 60. So I also don't want to make because it is just 10 kilometers an hour. I also don't want to make this a big thing and spend a bunch of money on, sending out letters and asking the public. I'm very torn on this, very torn.
Yeah, and I've seen Councillor DePalm's hand go up, so maybe we will do a second round, and maybe that will help kind of refine council's thoughts a little bit more on this. I will weigh in a little bit as we're going around the table. You know what? I ended up driving this stretch quite a bit during the campaign, and to me, the 60 doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I can see exactly why the engineers recommended 70, and to me, that's, I guess, my comfort level with this is that we had our engineers go look at it and come back with a recommendation. And it was a huge complaint I did hear in the area just doing a little bit of door knocking, and I didn't hear anyone thankful that it was at 60. I can say that, but and I don't know if that's enough public consultation or not. I remember when this first come back, I went back and looked at the comments that were submitted when this first came to council, and I would say the comments were very 50-50. A lot of people wanted it to stay at 80, and there were a lot of people calling for a reduction, and some of them not all the way to 60. So it is a little bit of a split issue. In my mind, looking at this, the engineering recommendation was for 70. So, that's kind of where my thoughts and support is lying at this time. But also keeping in mind that this would just be first reading and would give it a chance to go back out for some public feedback prior to coming for second and third reading as well. So we will carry around the room because I did see more hands. So Councillor Ritz.
Thank you, Mayor Ramsey. I appreciate your comments, and I heard the same comments during the campaign and since the election and since the signs went up, because there were a lot of people that didn't even realize. And so there was people speeding. But again, the complaints that I'm receiving largely are people are going 80 anyway, 70 to 80. People are being passed. There's backlog due to people worrying about speed traps and things like that. And so the largest complaints since I was elected, the most phone calls and emails that I'm getting on this are this particular issue. And I have people that would be more than willing to send in, and I've advised them, if we go through with first reading, they will be happy to send all of that feedback in so that council can see it. So it would be a good opportunity. So I would highly support first reading as I moved, and giving them that chance to support it with their own feedback that I've been receiving since I got elected.
Councillor DePalm.
So I guess this is kind of a question. So will the people in there be given letters, or will they just be put in the newspaper that this bylaw is out for first reading?
Through the CAO, as this is a bylaw not requiring a public hearing, there would be no formal form of advertising. We would include it, of course, with the next set of council meeting minutes within the county news. However, we do not look at having those dates correspond with your next council meeting. Therefore, there is a chance that you would be asked to consider second reading before the publishing of the next county news.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I can give first reading to it. So, I mean, it can get out there. And I guess for the councillor, we need to know if it's 3 people or 20. Because last time we were told it was 15 or 20, something like that before. And so, because flip-flopping back and forth with the speed limit, I think is wrong. And and I do have concerns with the farm equipment going up and down there. People get angry and things like that. So I guess my comment would be this needs to somehow get out to all these people, and they need to comment and that on it so that we're not flip-flopping and this goes back and forth, back and forth. So I guess I will support first reading to get it out in the public, but I do want to hear from the public. And if only 2 people write in, that's not enough for me. So there better be a lot. So,
Mayor Ramsey, if I may.
Yeah.
Just Councillor DePalma, in response to your comments, council does have the option to ask for consultation to be conducted. So you could amend your first reading motion to direct administration to conduct some additional or directed feedback, or delay the consideration of second reading until that's been done, because normally we would just come back at the next council meeting for second reading. So you can consider some amendments regarding consultation.
Okay, well, I guess I would like to add that. I don't, because the flip-flopping, I don't want to flip-flop on this, and then we're going to have 20 people mad that we raised it up to 70. So, you know, so some form of consultation has, in my opinion, because the time that it's also taking to redo this, and administration's time to redo this and go through it all over again, and then if it comes back again later, then I think that would cost us just as much. So I would like to see some consultation as per what, I'm not sure, maybe, I don't know, letters or something. I'm not quite sure what the consultation should be, but I think something should be, because like I said, we've already seen this once, and there's, so, yeah.
So could we amend first? I think you're going for an amendment to add. Could we add a referral letter to the adjacent properties? Is that simple enough? Okay. Yeah, I was just looking for confirmation that we're on the right track, and then we could certainly delay second reading until that could be concluded. Okay.
So do I need to say all that?
I think we've captured. I've got first reading, adding an amendment to do a referral letter. Councillor Rihanna Hansen, further comments?
Yeah, I just...
Mayor Ramsey, we would just need to know if that's friendly or if that's an amendment on its own.
Thank you.
No, that's friendly. Yeah,
Yep.
100%.
I'm hearing it's friendly, so.
Yeah, just, I'd be in favor of the amendment moving forward.
Councillor Brewster, Councillor Hansen.
I just had one more thought to go with this. Like, I would be in support of the first reading, even without the amendment, but postpone second reading to make sure that the public receives that information, so that they don't come back and be like, well, we didn't know. And we said, well, it was in the newspaper. So if we postponed it another council meeting, then we wouldn't have to send out the letters. Just an idea.
Yeah, I think your point is valid, but you know, if we want some targeted and to hear direct feedback from those residents, you know, time wise, and I don't think it's going to cost a whole lot to send out a referral similar to we do with our development applications. So I don't think we're causing a super big impact there, and then hopefully council will have the information at that point to make a decision on second reading. I have no other comments. Councillor Ritz, would you like to close at all?
Just thank you for supporting granting first reading and public consultation. This has definitely been a hot button issue for me, and people are very upset. So I appreciate that council is favorable to getting that consultation and making the change as per what the public would like.
Okay, so with that, I would ask for all those in favor of first reading with the amendment to do public consultation. And that's carried unanimously. Okay, just before we adjourn, council, I should have done this at the beginning of the meeting. I even made myself a big, huge note, and I overlooked it. I just wanted to recognize former Mayor Tim Wilson from the Village of Delburn. We did receive official word of his passing, and yeah, it's super sad. He was a fierce advocate for his community, and he was always very proud of the collaboration and relationship that they had built with Red Deer County over his time, and getting to work with him the past term was certainly a reflection of that, and I know he would like to see that continue. So hopefully we can do that, and just recognize him and his passing at this time. So with that, be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Mayor Ramsey, if I may.
Yep.
Administration had an opportunity to review the minutes and agrees with the amendment to change Councillor Carly Hansen to Councillor Rihanna Hansen.
Okay, so let's circle back to that. Good catch. Man, I'm slipping today. This is not good. So we had Councillor Carly Hansen moved our minutes today. Those would be the catch by Councillor Ryan Hansen, so those would be as amended. I didn't hear any other errors or omissions on those, so all those in favor of the minutes as amended, and that's everyone. Thank you, Ms. Rodwell. Now I think we can take a motion. Councillor DePalm.
I'll adjourn our council meeting at 10:24.
Okay, perfect. Motion to adjourn at 10:24. All those in favor? And that's everyone once again. Okay, council, let's take 10 minutes and we'll come back to GPC. I believe Councillor Gerard has another meeting. He's got to jump on here right away.